Hello everybody, Avery Pierce again with Beast of Burden Enterprises, and today we're down in one of my shops and we're going to talk about sharpening your axe. I've had a lot of requests and a lot of people asking me how you sharpen your axe, and so I figured I'd bang out a video real quick to show you how. When you buy an axe, most of the time it'll come with a blunt face. I don't know if my cameraman can zoom in on that, but it's about 1/16 of an inch flat. Very blunt, very dull, and the reason for that is a lot of times people don't want to sharpen their axe. The more metal you remove, the thinner your blade face gets and the easier it is for your axe to chip. But if you want to sharpen your axe, it's pretty easy to do. There's a couple different ways to do it. I don't recommend using a grinder. Bench grinder, don't ever do it. The steel on an axe is pretty soft. You can change the temper real easy. You can do a 5-second screw up and it'll take you several hours to fix. You can, if you want, if you have a portable belt sander or a regular tabletop belt sander, you can take the portable, put it in a vise, clamp it down, and almost all portable belt sanders will have a button on it. You squeeze the trigger, push that button, and it'll keep rotating. But if you don't have a belt sander, then you just have to start out with a file. What you do first, of course, you need to remove the axe head from the handle. To do this, just hold the axe upside down, tap it a couple times, and the head will become loose. Take that off and just toss your handle off to the side. Now, you need to be able to secure the axe head while you're working. You can use a vise and just cinch it down real tight, and even if you have to put a board, a small stick of wood or something underneath the axe to keep it from spinning down, you can work that way. When you're doing this, be careful to work to the side of your axe. Don't stand in front of it. Stand on one side or the other, because if you make a misstep and your axe is pretty sharp, you can give yourself a nasty gash. If you don't have a vise, you can make yourself a jig. What I've done here, this is an old handle that's busted. I've sawed the ends off, drilled 2 holes, and I can slide my axe between those holes and screw it down to the table with a couple screws. Now you want to make sure that just barely over the edge of the table is your bevel. The reason for that is when you're pushing down on it, it rests on the table. Now if you don't have screws or a cordless drill, you can use a hammer and some nails. If you don't have a hammer but you have an axe, you should probably take the axe back, get your money back, and go buy a hammer, because chances are you're going to use a hammer more in your lifetime than you will an axe. So, I've got a file around here somewhere. Here we go. This is a number 2 bastard file. You can buy them at Lowe's, Home Depot, any hardware store. They're just $5 or $6. Now on the number 2, the file teeth only go one direction. And when you're pushing the file, and I see a lot of people do this all the time, they'll set the file down and go back and forth. Don't do that. The reason is, when you're rocking these teeth back and forth, you're actually breaking them, making them dull, and eventually your file will just skip off and not do anything. When you're pushing into the blade one direction, you lay the file down on the bevel, flat on the bevel, and just push. And when you do this, your hand is going toward the blade. So always wear gloves. I don't need that glove. And to start out with, what you want to do is lay your file down flat and just start pushing. And I don't know if it's picking up on the camera, but you can see the metal starting to shave and it getting brighter there. You want to go across the whole face of your bevel straight in like this to start. Now when you're doing this, you might as well devote probably 2 hours to it. And notice how I'm picking the file up and then pushing back into the bevel. Now, some people like to put what's called a lenticular or apple seed bevel on their axes. I personally like the diamond bevel because it's flat and it penetrates the target better. But if you want a lenticular bevel or an apple seed bevel, start out close to the edge and raise the back of your file up just a little and rock the file. But like I said, I pretty much like the diamond bevel. I think it penetrates the target better. Now once you've gone across the whole face of the bevel, pushing in straight, change your angle. Go this way. Go down the face of the bevel. And keep doing that until you see the whole, the pattern, the push pattern, the file pattern on the bevel all go in that direction. And I'm not putting a whole lot of pressure with my right hand, just enough to keep the file flat against the bevel. Now you're probably noticing that I'm not sharpening the point of this very much, and I'll explain why in just a few minutes. But after you've got the grain from the file marks all go in one direction down the edge, change and go back up this direction. Alright, now once you've done that, go back down this way one more time. Alright, now that you've done that, you're going to want to take the head loose and do the same thing on the other side of the bevel.